I sat up here, this is probably the 10th panel on this subject I've been on in the last 7 or 8 years, and I never have anything new to say. And it's still the same issue, and I thought maybe I would take a different approach with you. First of all, Jerry, thank you for those comments. It was very constructive, and appreciated hearing them. At DETC, we take the approach that it's about learning. It's about outcomes. It's about what happens to people when you're finished with helping them. And it's about quality. And credit and transferring credit becomes really a secondary consideration. If you do a good job of delivering on your promises to your students, and they are happy with what you've done, then credit transfer becomes an afterthought later on if they decide to go on to other education. And our most important focus is we take people and we, from here, and we do something with them and they change, become better, they learn, they get skills, they get jobs, they go off, their life is better because of what we've done. Credit transfer is not a deal breaker with many of our students. It's important, yes, if you want to go on to another university or attend or get a higher degree, then it becomes important. We have been surveying our students now year in and year out across the board, all 100 institutions in DETC, tens of thousands of surveys coming back, and here's what we found out. 97% of them are happy with what happened to them. 97% of them said they'd recommend their institution to a friend. 97% of them said they would take another program. I just got in the results from surveying employers of our graduates, and the data floored me, and I went back to my people. I said, this can't be true. 100% of the employers said they would hire another DETC graduate. 100% of them said they were completely delighted. The data just overwhelmed me. So I think that if we focus on the learning and what we do with people, the transfer of credit part will take care of itself. We have been talking for years and years and years about transfer of credit, and basically it comes down to this. The receiving institution has the right to make a decision on whether it's going to accept credit or not accept credit. I don't think we question that. What we do object to is when they blindly say we refuse to look at any transcript if it's not regionally accredited. That's where we get our backs up, and that's what we've been talking about for the past 10 years. I know of no accrediting agency recognized by the Secretary or CHIA that tells institutions that they may not accept credit from a nationally recognized institution. I think that quite the opposite is true. All the accrediting agencies have at one time or another, and Judith, you can back me up on this, endorsed the joint statement on credit transfer. So that if a president of a college were to say to me, we are following the guidance of our regional and we're not allowed to accept national credit, it just can't be true. That's not what the joint statement says. In my little handout that some of you got, I think I ran out, I'll just make these 5 quick points. We believe that students seeking to transfer credit have a fundamental right to have their transcripts evaluated fairly, regardless of the source of the accreditation of the sending institution. We also believe concurrently that institutions have the right to reject credit for reasonable cause other than the source of accreditation. That's what the joint statement says. The single best practice for institutions is to observe the letter and spirit of the CHIA policy on transfer in the public interest. That's been around now for many years. We believe that the individual institution is not wise to substitute its judgment of the reliability of an accrediting body in place of the judgments of CHIA and the Secretary of Education. And finally, we've just come out, because of the input we got in Reno, Nevada from one of the ESOs, we've come out with a new standard that institutions must prominently disclose that the right to accept or reject credits is the privilege of the receiving institution. I think if that's disclosed up front, we'll have a lot fewer unhappy campers later on. It struck me as incredibly important, and I don't mean to read all of this to you, but there are something like 1,800 members in SOC. 1,800 universities belong to SOC. And to belong to SOC, you're supposed to subscribe to and adhere to the SOC criteria. And I just want to read criteria number 1. I'll read excerpts, because it gets to the very heart of the issue of credit transfer. And this particular criteria number 1 is called transfer of credit. And it talks about the mobility of the service member and how institutions should go out of their way to minimize the loss of credit and avoid duplication of coursework while maintaining the integrity of the programs. It also goes on to say that a SOC consortium institution follows the general principles of good practice outlined in the joint statements on the transfer and award of credit. Each institution may be required to submit documentary evidence that accepts credits in transfer from other accredited institutions and that its credits in turn are generally accepted by other accredited institutions. Folks, if you're a member of SOC, I think that speaks pretty clearly and loudly to me. It means to me, anyway, that you shouldn't be denying credit in transfer based solely on the source of the accreditation of a sending institution. That is very, very important document there. I'd like to conclude just by talking about if we can get back to the concept of serving our learners better, of helping them, I think this issue of transfer will resolve itself. I think that as regionally accredited institutions gain more experience with the nationally accredited in looking at these transcripts and working with the students and seeing how well the students perform, they will come to embrace those students and welcome them even more. We think that the doorway should be open and not closed to the student who comes to you with a transcript from a nationally accredited institution. Yes, you can still reject the credit. You have that perfect right. It may not be at the proper level. It may not be enough calculus. It may be whatever. But you cannot, in our book, slam the door in their face and say nationally accredited institutions need not apply. I'll stop right there. Thank you.